After DMK, it is AIADMK Jayalalitha's turn, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. It's her turn to demand her pound of flesh from the centre, and it's what's turning out to be a perpetual headache for Delhi. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has asked the government to boycott the Commonwealth Heads of Government meet in Colombo this November, citing instances of Tamil minorities being persecuted in Sri Lanka. Jayalalithaa has said a boycott would pressure other countries to harden their stance against Colombo as well. Headlines today is Priyamvada now joins me for more on this. Priyamvada, take us through what Jayalalithaa said in detail.
Just hours after DMK Chief Mr. Karunanidhi had passed a resolution in the Executive Committee meeting here, exerting pressure on the central government to put pressure in turn on the Sri Lankan in the international community so that the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting doesn't happen in Colombo. We have a statement, a letter that the Chief Minister has written to the Prime Minister saying only India can intervene at this point of time, because holding such a meeting, such a conference in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, just few weeks after the US resolution was passed would obviously mean that the international community is endorsing and is accepting Sri Lanka, but on the other hand, Sri Lanka should be ostracized for the genocide, alleged genocide that has taken place there in their country. So obviously, protests are still happening. I mean, all the protest groups are planning protests here again, exerting pressure on the Indian government so the Indian government can influence and ensure that this meeting doesn't happen in Colombo. And also, film artists are going to hold a hunger protest in Chennai on 2nd of April. So definitely, headache for the central government, for the Prime Minister, is far from over.
Now this is big. This is big. In fact, what we are also being told by our sources is that several Tamil organizations are actually asking Jayalalithaa to offer Chennai as the alternative venue for the Chogam meet, for Commonwealth Heads of Governments to meet, not in Colombo, but they should meet in Chennai. Is that something that's endorsed by Jayalalithaa?
Absolutely, that's what we are also hearing. Our sources are telling that why can't this meeting be shifted to Chennai? But on the other hand, if it's going to be shifted to Chennai, Jayalalithaa has very categorically mentioned that when even sports officials, sports persons cannot enter Chennai, they cannot come to India from Sri Lanka. Obviously, the ministers or the government officials and the delegation from Sri Lanka can definitely not enter in India, cannot enter Chennai. That's the criteria, that's the rider. On the other hand, if this did happen, if the Commonwealth government heads meeting does happen in Chennai, it will be a huge prestige for Jayalalithaa. She'll claim credit that it's because of her effort that the meeting is being held in Chennai. So that's what the pressure is there, because as of now, the diaspora, Tamil diaspora and pro-Tamil organizations are completely backing the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, Ms. J. Jayalalithaa. They feel she is the Chief Minister who would represent their voice. So they have been insisting and exerting pressure to hold this meeting in Chennai, but I doubt if that can actually happen. If the government of India could exert pressure and do something like that, considering the very volatile situation we have here in Tamil Nadu.
It indeed is. And now let me bring in political analyst V. Krishnanand for more on this. Krishna, this is actually competitive politics, domestic competitive politics that is putting so much pressure on the centre. DMK says one thing on the UN vote. Now Jayalalithaa says no Chogam in Colombo. India shouldn't go for it. This is foreign policy actually dominating international affairs, domestic policy.
Well, I think, there is nothing wrong with domestic politics actually dominating international relations or foreign policies. This foreign policy, as I understand, should actually emanate from domestic compulsion. Having said that, what has happened is there is a element of absurdity that, one tries to, so far as the genocide in Sri Lanka and keeping quiet at that point of time. And various, in fact, if you look at the whole history in the 90s, AIADMK was leading the bandwagon, saying that, we should not have anything to do with the Tamil cause in Sri Lanka. DMK was part of the government in 2009 when it was being carried out. So after all these things, putting all these things back, these two parties explanation to do on the kind of politics that they're playing. that is one dimension of it, this competitive politics. But I think foreign policy is essentially should flow out of domestic compulsions and domestic political interests. And Jayalalithaa doing this now is very clearly to play one up in the sentiments. But having said all these things, I'm not really sure if the people are so gullible to play into the hands of one or two of these parties, one of the two parties, and consider one of them as, more representative of the Tamil sentiments or even human rights sentiments here.
Okay, stay on with me, Krishna. Let me also bring in KP Ramalingam of the DMK. Mr. Ramalingam, what do you make of Jayalalithaa? Is this Jayalalitha's statement a letter to the Prime Minister saying India should not attend CHOGM in Colombo? Do you endorse it, or is this just political opportunism?
No. Our party executive committee decided that to press the government of India not to attend that Commonwealth meeting. Prior to that, we are insisting even the Commonwealth authority not to have a meeting in Ceylon, because there is genocide was happened there, because there is anti-Tamil activities are there. So we are pressing even the Commonwealth meeting should not be held in Ceylon. If at all it is held, India should not attend that Commonwealth. That is our motive. Whether Jayalalithaa what she is going to do or not, that we are not bothered about it.
No, but Mr. Ramalingam, respond to this criticism. You're mounting this pressure now, whether it's you or AIADMK. But as Krishna Anand was saying, in 2009, when those massive atrocities were taking place against the Sri Lankan Tamils, you were a part of the UPA government and you did nothing then.
Yes, I accept it. But in that time, 2009, Jayalalithaa also alive in the world. What she taken action? He also contested in the election. He won 10 seats. In the election, she might have boycotted it. He didn't do it. At that time, she was also not did anything.
Okay.
But now she is accusing about what DMK did it. That time, what CPI did it? What CPM did it? In Tamil Nadu, they are also contested in the election. They are also won. They are also now representing the Lok Sabha.
Okay, and let me bring in senior journalist S. Murari for more on this. Mr. Murari, is this competitive politics, DMK and AIADMK, which is actually affecting India's foreign policy?
I don't think India will lead. India knows very well. What happened in Geneva was done with. That is the maximum any country can go. The US brought forth the resolution, had to amend it to make it acceptable to all the countries, not just Sri Lanka. Even other countries were against influence the resolution. Even the demand for investigation into human rights violations. So they must use the word genocide or war crime. It was very easy to raise the bets because these regional.
No, but now Jayalalithaa saying that CHOGM shouldn't be held in Colombo, and if it is, then India shouldn't go for it.
That can be considered, but what Britain has said, even it may have to consider if no political provision made in investigation into human rights violation. You have to wait until 6 months to go for that. September or somewhere is going to be held in Colombo. So it's not first time it's happened. Even SARC summit was held in the 90s. At that time also India boycotted, and then other countries attended Colombo. We could have figure if India takes a positive step and other countries attend CHOGM. I think we have to follow the coordinate with the US, Britain, the leading Commonwealth, and take action on that. There can't be taken by chauvinistic noises being heard from Tamil Nadu. We have a narrow political vision on this. We have to be guided by a broader vision. We have to engage with Sri Lanka for reconstruction and resolution of conflict and all that. This is only
spot on there, and let me put that question to DMK's Mr. Ramalingam. Mr. Ramalingam, narrow politics of state actually trying to influence foreign policy, which could be detrimental to India's national interests. Shouldn't there be a cut-off point thus far and no further?
We always stood behind the national interest. But what is now going on? It is whether you are accepting genocide was happened in Ceylon or not. Everybody knows genocide was happened in Ceylon. But what we with the country in our our people, only the Tamil peoples are basic our sisters and brothers of our Tamil sin is Elam also. But we have to be help them. What we taken action in Bangladesh, what we taken action in other countries like that, we have to do it. So that's what our process is, that only.
Okay, for the moment, Mr. Ramalingam, Mr. Murari and V. Krishna Anand, many thanks for joining me here. We'll track the story closely. We'll see what reaction we get from the centre on the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha's request.